right, guys, if you want to build more muscle, you need to do this one thing. In fact, it's not just one thing, it's quite a few things, but it all ties into this one principle, increasing your intensity. It's pretty easy to say, oh, just train intense, but how do you actually do it? Well, with me training for nearly 10 years now, I developed some techniques that actually help me get the most out of my intensity when I'm training. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some of those so that you can actually use this to build more muscle. Subscribe, like, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I'm gonna use the incline bench for the first example. Now notice whenever people are lifting, they're kind of like looking in the mirror, then they'll look up at the ceiling, and then they'll look to the side at their friend, and then they'll look down, right? So the first thing what you wanna do is have a singular point of focus. And what this means is that whenever you're doing your training, such as push-ups, pull-ups, what really helps me increase my intensity is if I focus on a particular object or point in the distance and literally focus on that whole point throughout the whole entire set. It sounds crazy, but this is actually a mental trick to allow you to increase your intensity. Because think about it, whenever you're distracted, looking around, trying to look at your form in the mirror, you're really not gonna get the most out of your intensity. And a lot of people have issues with that whenever they're training. Once again, it's a hard thing to actually implement and do, but the more you do it, the easier it's gonna get, all right? So singular point of focus, let's move on to number 2. So we've all heard it before. Breathing is super important whenever you're lifting, but most people don't understand why it's important. The reason why it's important is because your breathing is going to dictate your force output. And that means how intense you can go and how much you can lift. And that will equally correlate to how much muscle you can build in the long run. So if you never got a lesson on breathing, proper breathing while lifting, I'm going to teach you really quickly here. Essentially, what you want to do is on the exertion part of the movement, whatever you're doing, or the concentric, not the eccentric, the concentric, whenever you're exerting force, that's when you want to breathe out. That's going to allow you to have the most force output, and that goes with any movement you're doing. Squat, bench press, push-up, pull-up, doesn't matter. And a big issue that I had whenever I was not training that intensely was that I was holding my breath throughout my movements, especially as I got near the end and the reps were trying to get hard. A lot of people, what they would do is they'll hold their breath, thinking holding their breath allows them to exert more force, when in actuality, that's not the case. You're gonna exert way more force whenever you have proper breathing and breathe out whenever you're doing it. So remember, in conjunction, singular point of focus and also focus on your breathing. So a lot of stuff to focus on, but the more you do it, like I said, the more you'll get better at it. Liquid H2O, man, the best ever. And speaking of H2O, you need to be hydrated. The reason why I say this is that I've noticed a clear trend on how I perform in the gym in regards to my intensity levels with my hydration levels. There's actually been study and research showing that the more hydrated you are, the actually stronger you are. And I noticed this whenever I was in college. We would have PT sessions because I was in ROTC at like 6 a.m. in the morning. And if I did not hydrate the day before properly, those PT sessions were always poo-poo, crap, absolutely horrible. So what I told myself is that every single day, I'm gonna aim for a gallon of water a day. And ever since doing that, especially when I stay consistent with it, I've had the most progress in the gym and I've had the best workouts ever. Now with me being in Florida, it's consistently hot, so that's why it's also very, very important for me to hydrate and to make sure that I'm not only hydrating throughout the workout, but before the workout. You gotta think of hydration in the phases. So you're not gonna feel the effects of the hydration until you hydrate it, let's say 3 hours before. So whatever thing you wanna do, basically you need to hydrate at least 2 to 3 hours before in order to feel that effect. You can't go into the gym dehydrated and then drink some water, then expect to feel the hydration levels. It doesn't work that way. It's almost like a delayed sort of effect. So easy to say and pretty easy to implement too. I get one of these, what is this, hydro flasks. I drink 4 of these a day, gallon of water. Most of the times I actually drink more. I drink more, so like 5 or 6. And since then, my intensity levels have been amazing and my workouts have been absolutely amazing. Not to mention it does help with body composition too, and also your skin and other aspects of your health. Lunk alarm. That's why I don't like Planet Fitness. It's because they don't allow grunting. But what I've realized is that grunting really helps with force output, especially when you're in those grinding reps And we all know that those last few reps is where most of the progress happens in regards to building muscle, right? Wait, thumbnail. So with that being said, you need to actually let out those grunts, man. We've seen the memes. I'd be in my girl ear like, You want to be in the gym like that too, especially in those grinding reps. Now, you don't gotta be all super loud and cause annoyance in the gym and like, well, who is this guy? But whenever I hear somebody grunting in the gym, I know that they're grinding and they're putting out the max force output that they're capable of doing in their body, and they're actually training very, very intense, right? So don't be afraid to grunt. Don't be afraid to also breathe and do all the other stuff I'm talking about in this video. There are a lot of mind tricks and a lot of manipulation things you can do to kind of manipulate the intensity and make sure that you're doing it every single time. Follow those 4 tips. I promise you, you're gonna see crazy results when it comes to your own intensity levels in your own workout routine. So let me know what other tips you have in regards to intensity down below in the comments. Subscribe, like. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.